Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're unpacking a massive cultural conflict that sits right on our dinner tables. I'm talking about the battle between our deep, emotional love for traditional homemade food, the amazing stuff our parents and grandparents made, and the harsh reality of modern health issues. We're going to explore the actual science of the Desi diet. Okay, let's dive into this. If traditional homemade food is so naturally healthy, why are we facing a modern crisis of poor health, rapid aging, and just constant fatigue? I mean, for generations, we've believed this deeply ingrained myth that eating endless rotis, massive heaps of dal, and just pouring desi ghee over literally everything is automatically good for you, simply because our ancestors survived on it. But as you'll see, pure survival and thriving modern health, those are two entirely different things. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll tackle the Desi diet myth, then look at how our ancestors ate, followed by the modern energy imbalance. After that, we'll get practical with understanding your macros, building a balanced plate, and finally, exercise and lifestyle. Let's get right to it. Section 1, the Desi diet myth. So it's incredibly common to hide behind the excuse of eating healthy, home-cooked traditional food, right? But doing that while completely ignoring the physical reality of declining health is a trap. We so often wait for a blood test to tell us something is wrong, but honestly, long before that, our bodies start giving us extremely clear visual and physical signs. The absolute crucial metric to look at here is body composition. This is the critical ratio of fats to muscle in your body. It dictates your true health, your aging speed, your energy levels, and even your bone density, way more accurately than just stepping on a bathroom scale. Look, we need a bit of tough love here. True health isn't just about whether you're simply overweight or underweight. Poor body composition actually shows up as premature aging, bad posture, maybe a weak walk, and just a total lack of energy. If you're eating traditional food but experiencing all these symptoms, well, the diet is simply not working for you. Section 2, how our ancestors ate. To understand why our traditional diet is suddenly causing all these problems, we really have to look at the evolutionary history of human metabolism. Because the truth is, this heavy diet actually worked beautifully for past generations. Let's quickly trace this dietary timeline. 10,000 years ago, hunter-gatherers basically survived on raw meat for fat and energy, alongside whatever wild fruits they could find. Then, centuries ago, the agricultural revolution happened. This introduced high-carb foods like wheat, along with dairy. But, and here is the absolute kicker, it also introduced intense, heavy manual farming. Fast forward to today, the present day, and we live in a modern era defined by processed chemicals and completely sedentary lifestyles. Listen, our ancestors didn't track their macros or worry about protein-to-carb ratios because their intense daily physical fight for survival naturally kept their bodies incredibly lean and muscular. They literally burned every single thing they consumed. Section 3, the modern energy imbalance. And that brings us to the core problem we face today, a severe biological mismatch. We have this stark contrast in lifestyles between our high-calorie traditional food intake and our practically zero-calorie modern physical output. Think about it. Our ancestors endured intense manual labor in the fields without any machinery. They naturally burned off those heavy, high-carb diets. Now, look at modern humans. We rely on tractors to farm, we sit at desk jobs all day, and wow, we even use AI to write and think for us now. We remain totally sedentary, yet we're still stubbornly eating those massive, high-energy agricultural diets. We have to respect the basic law of energy, which states that calories absolutely cannot be destroyed. The food energy we consume must either be burned through physical work, or it will inevitably be stored in the body as excess fat. Our biology hasn't magically changed just because our technology has. Put simply, if you eat 10 rotis but sit in an office chair all day, those unused calories have nowhere to go. They're going to turn into stored organ fat and cause some major metabolic issues. And, it gets worse because of our modern food environment. Consider this really powerful quote from the source material. When your tongue and brain are controlled by addictive foods, someone else holds the remote control to your body. Think of a remote-controlled car. Whoever holds the remote is the boss, right? Today, modern food companies engineer highly palatable, incredibly addictive foods by perfectly combining sugar, salt, and fat. They completely hijack our cravings and our hormones. If you're constantly craving these foods, you aren't driving anymore. The food companies are literally holding the remote control to your health. Section 4, understanding your macros. Now, what's really interesting is how we can take that remote control back using science. And we're going to strip away the intimidation factor for anyone who just loves their traditional meals. Basically, there are 3 main macronutrients your body needs. First up, protein. It builds muscle, hair, skin hormones. You get this from paneer, eggs, chicken, or whey. Second, carbohydrates. This is your pure energy, found in your roti, brown rice, and sweet potatoes. And third, healthy fats, which provide controlled energy. Think daisy ghee, olive oil, and almonds. To thrive today, your body requires a very specific, calculated balance of these three elements.
But here is an absolutely critical biological fact that a lot of people miss. Unlike carbohydrates and fats, protein is not stored in the body for later use. Let me repeat that. It is not stored. It must be consumed consistently to repair your muscle tissue, balance your hormones, and maintain your body's structural integrity. This highlights the absolute biggest flaw in the modern desi diet. If you eat a plate consisting only of a bowl of dal and, say, 6 rotis topped with ghee, you are getting massive carbs and fats, but you are severely deprived of complete protein. And your body biologically requires protein every single day.
Section 5. Building a balanced plate. Now, the goal here isn't to just abandon our cultural foods. No way. It's to modernize them so we can actually enjoy them without destroying our health. Take a look at the scientifically ideal balanced plate. We've got 40% vegetables for your gut microbiome and for fiber. 30% needs to be a complete protein source, like paneer, eggs, or chicken. Then we have 20% for complex carbs, and yes, this means limiting yourself to just 2 or 3 rotis, not an endless stack. Finally, 10% for healthy fats, which means strictly portion controlling that desi ghee to maybe just a spoonful. Contrast this ideal setup with the traditional disaster of endless rotis and heavy ghee. We absolutely must check our meals for complete protein and practice strict portion control. Beyond just what's on the plate, another incredibly powerful tool is the number 14. This represents the optimal hours for an intermittent fasting window. It's a highly effective biological hack, honestly. By finishing your dinner 2 to 3 hours before bed, and then waiting 14 to 15 hours before your next meal, you allow your body to drop into a deep sleep state. Instead of struggling to digest a heavy late-night meal, your body can use that sleep energy to detoxify, repair cells, and massively boost your immunity. It's a real game changer. Section 6. Exercise and lifestyle. Because we've completely engineered manual labor out of our daily lives, we have to deliberately replace it. Hitting the gym, cycling, or going for a run isn't just for bodybuilders, and this brilliantly illustrates what happens internally when we do. Exercise activates dormant muscles and metabolic pathways. It drastically increases your bone density so you stay solid in old age. It keeps your hormones perfectly balanced. Amazingly, the literal act of muscle contraction triggers your body to release natural painkillers. Plus, it actively prevents toxic organ fat and fatty liver disease. You see, things like the 10,000 steps rule, taking cold showers, and lifting weights, these aren't just foreign fitness trends. They are scientifically proven methods to artificially recreate the healthy exhaustion that our ancestors achieved naturally out in the fields. We live in an era where machines do all our work. To survive it, introducing deliberate physical stress to your body is absolutely mandatory. Which leaves us with this final, really important question. Will you blindly rely on the myth that desi food is always healthy regardless of quantity? Or will you use modern science to adapt your plate for a longer, stronger life? You don't have to abandon your cultural roots or your favorite foods, but you do have to take back control of the remote. By applying science, understanding your need for daily protein, and practicing some portion control, you can honor your traditions while actually building a body that thrives today. So think about it next time you sit down to eat.